Thanks to Hungry Jacks, you can win a trip for two to the 2018 World's Grand Final in Korea. To enter, head to os.lolliesports.com/worlds-trip and fill out your details. The trip includes flights, transfers, accommodation, and tickets to the 2018 World's Grand Final. All thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Hello and welcome back to the OPL, of course, brought to you by our good friends Hungry Jacks, as pointed out by Bryce, Ian, and Paul in what is a lovely little cheeky piece of voiceover, Bryce.
Thanks, Ryan. I think that was the first voiceover I've ever done.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's fun.
It is actually fun,
It's
isn't
very
it?
new.
Do you feel, like, I find myself, like, because when people think about doing voiceover, right, you'd think, like, we're just sitting here doing it. I find myself, I get very animated.
Yeah, you
when I
have
do.
to. You, like, talking conversationally is very low volume. And then when we cast, like, you, with the headset on, you don't realize how loud you yell. And then you're, like, solo in a room. I don't have your energy to bounce off. Like, we're just doing voiceover. And you got to get in there.
And I want to submit a question to, like, one right answer. Off the back end of that as well, which is Bryce's big play. Or Jake Spawn Tiberian, welcome to the war room. I don't know whether we're doing one right answer right now. However, I believe Nick is still alongside me, confirm or deny that.
Denied. But we can add it in. That's fine because it is coming up next. I'm here with Cyclone. We enjoyed that first series. Looking forward to, I would say, quote unquote, a banger for Series 2. We've got Chiefs versus Direwolves. Who are you picking?
I've got Direwolves
2-1.
Yeah.
Why?
I think that Chiefs have been a little inconsistent. They dropped a couple games to us, and they did close out Rift Rivals as well, though. So you know, like they've had some really, really good moments, but I think that the inconsistency is going to mean it goes the way of the Direwolves.
I want to get your perspective as a coach in this scenario. Heading into this matchup, we've obviously just seen both these teams at Rift Rivals, and on at the beginning of the tournament, Direwolves were undefeated, and they were absolute monsters and terrifying. And then in the grand final, they were the only host team that dropped a game. Chiefs were had lost one beforehand, but came out and, like you said, basically closed it out. Do you think that that is hanging over the heads as they go into these matches?
I would imagine, based on what I know of the players on the teams, having worked with some of the Chiefs guys, that I think the Chiefs are a bit more momentum-based. I think Direwolves just show up and do their thing, and like Shin, you know, does jungling and runs around the map and puts pressure exactly where it's needed and the amount that it's needed. And I think the Chiefs are a bit more like, if they're hot, like they're going and they make really great decisions, and if they're not, they're not. So they are coming in hot, and Direwolves are going to do their thing. So the question is, like, you know, assuming they both play pretty well, who's going to be better? And I think Direwolves have some pretty smart stuff figured out, and I'm hoping we'll see that today.
I'm looking forward to it. And while you're in the mood for making decisions, let's take Jake's question. Is it the big play or welcome to the war room? Which one do you prefer?
They're big plays, man. We're not at war.
There you go. There's the answer.
I agree. I want to point out that I agree. I thought I get memed about Jake Spawn Tiberian.
I get memed about big play.
Because it is a big play, and this is a big game. As we get into game number 2 of the night, it is going to be the Chiefs Esports Club taking on rivals in the Direwolves, of course. This is the grand final rematch. That game, of course, 2-0 up for the Chiefs before the Direwolves were able to come out and momentum-based reverse sweep them. And both of these teams have played much more recently than Order and the Bombers.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree with a lot of what Johnny said, right? Momentum means so much more for the left-hand side of your screen, for the Chiefs, than it does the Direwolves. And you talk about Chiefs were the ones to close out game number 3, game number 4 at Rift Rivals. And I feel like Direwolves, like, they won the tournament. They looked very good, potentially maybe like the best team at the tournament in the most like traditional sense. They didn't have the highest highs, but like they looked just overall very solid. But they wouldn't have wanted to win the tournament like that. They were the only team that lost in the grand final.
Well, you could tell from Sharp's perspective in the interview that that's not how they wanted to win. However, that is the way we did win. So be damn glad that we won it all. Let's go through the Chiefs lineup. In the top lane, it is going to be Big Swips. Babip in the jungle. Ryoma, of course, their superstar mid laner. And Raze and Destiny are their bottom lane. Of course, Daruk is their coach. And this is the lineup that I think has seen return to form of some of the big names, namely your old mate, Big Swips in the top lane.
He's been tweeting about it today. Never felt this good, you know, coming in form-wise. Incredible. First part of the split, a lot of Chiefs games have been like, can bot side out-carry the deficit that is happening on the top side of the map? But he just came out of nowhere. Rift Rail's picking up the Kled that nobody really bar him had been playing at that point, and we have seen it in LPL, LCK, Taiwan, LMS, region they're Rift Rivals, but in terms of like what we've seen domestically, no one picking it up, and he was popping off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing for me was that we went off a series against Tectonic where Swiper was being bodied by Paprise into Swiper bodying top laners at Rift Rivals, which leads to the big question. I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't often do this. Were the top laners at Rift Rivals subpar?
You don't often do this.
I never do this. What are you talking about? Were the top laners at Rift Rivals subpar and therefore Swiper was made to look good? Or has Swiper's return to form been hit?
Both. I'm going to head absolutely. There is no doubt that Swiper's return to form is great. You know what I mean? But I think the top laners did underperform. You have players like Evie coming in, and I think he should look real good, and Japan just looked not so good. Not that bad, but they looked...
This is a cast of cop-outs, Bryce. I will not stand by. We're coming up with a segment up next called One Right Answer. Your whole job is to just have one answer to a question.
Okay. Then it's DOS. Like, he's returned to form.
Benefit of the doubt, give it to DOS.
Yeah. Like, I got to back my boy. You know,
in the space of 5 days, he went from getting... Because he got destroyed by Paprise to... being that's how good the return of form was.
My experience with DOS obviously comes from like my time in Chiefs. 2017 Chiefs, knee jerky as hell. 5 days, absolutely long enough for DOS to turn it around. 100%.
Well, you heard it here first. DOS has turned around. He's going to be going up against BioPanther in the top lane. Shernfire in the jungle. Triple, their superstar, quite possibly best player on the server. Mid laner, and King and Cupcake are their bottom lane, of course. Sharp is their coach, and life is good if you're the Direwolf. Still undefeated, sitting at the top of the ladder. You just won Rift Rivals, maybe not in the fashion you wanted, but the experiment has worked.
Yes.
Put a big tick in the box. BioPanther looks good.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had that mid-season break-ish over Rift Rivals, and I feel like it's starting to get to that point where it's not like, is BioPanther good enough? Like, that question doesn't hold up anymore. He has shown against international players, against so many different players domestically, that he can stand toe-to-toe. He's not one-dimensional. He can play the tanks. He can play the carries. I don't think anyone's saying he's the best top laner in the league, but for such a controversial change at the start of the split for the Direwolves, I think it's been a raving success.
And I think it has brought them together, which is what I like to see. The map doesn't seem fragmented. It's not Chippies and Shern trying to run over a top side of the map. It's not King and Cupcake split off just farming for the first 25 minutes playing Tally's version of Summoner's Rift, but in the bottom lane. Now they seem to come together and they look like a great all-round team.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw them play multiple things, like, you know, early game seems like the point where you can attack the Direwolves. I feel like it was a game against Dead FM and Steel where his Nocturne was running rampant. That was a level 2 gank that killed Cupcake and ganked almost every single lane. So if teams can take it to Direwolves early, there is potential, but they just look rock solid across the board.
Because I want to ask you a question about that, which is that teams taking it to them early, or is that the Direwolves thinking the game can be played one way, and then a team changing the rules on them and therefore them being caught out? Because I know sometimes you're like, a champion shouldn't be able to do that. Like, a level 2 gank on Nocturne doesn't sound great.
It doesn't, but that's honestly like half the reason why it works. You don't expect a level 2 Nocturne to just be ganking your bottom lane, and all of a sudden he rocks up, Flash Taunt, Flash Fear, rather, not the Taunt, and you just die.
That's why sometimes when people walk through the Tri-Brush bottom lane and I'm on red side of Summoner's Rift and I'm playing Alistar, I start Trample. Because Trample does so much damage if you can just walk next to him and keep auto-attacking. It's still a stun. Does like 120 damage level 1. However, Lulu, Alistar, and Lucian have been taken away. It's going to be Renekton, Aatrox, and Yasuo banned away from the Chiefs, and immediately they lock in Zoe and DOS. Big grin on his face. He's a happy big Swips today.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few interesting things to talk about already. We don't see really any jungle bans. No Talia, no Nocturne, so those have fallen down in priority, but Aatrox, as you expect, hits the bench. Renekton is interesting as well. Haven't seen too much of him recently, but with the rise of these bruisey top laners with Darius, things like that, having that early game control is good, so they ban away like a stylistically traditional Swiper champion.
And Rakan gets locked in as well as Swain. I like this. Breaks up the dynamic duo that Raze and Destiny played all of Split 1 to great success, and Rakan with a mage bottom lane is actually one of the best supports.
Has kill potential, you know. With a Swain, you have so much CC. You can play it aggressively. You can look to roam around the map. We saw Rogue have such a successful game, not to mention the Zoe as well, Ryoma, picking that one back up. We saw Luch earlier today. Game number 2 was absolutely popping off despite the win, so Blind picking that champion with absolutely no coverage bans, feeling very confident in the mid lane.
And it honestly feels like we've swapped patches, Bryce. set number 1, we're seeing all this scaling, all this funnel being put into Summoner's Rift and scaling matching. Now we have Zoe, Morgana, Camille, 3 of the best, like 6 to 11 champions in the game. Not that they don't scale well, but just completely different draft.
I like it. I love that this has happened, you know, going back to that early game pressure, having the gank potential. Junglers getting all over the map, level 2, getting things done. I'm a fan.
And Mundo locked in now with some protection through the bans.
It's going to have the opportunity to ban away things like the Darius. Yep. Aatrox already gone, Renekton already gone, but it will just be the Galio. They don't want to give that one to Ryoma because the Chiefs at Rift Rivals showed different things, right? They showed the Graves Cassio sort of style. They also showed Babip on the Sejuani and Ryoma on the Swain. So as potentially one of the most versatile teams in the OPL, normally that comes through Raze and Destiny and their ability to off-roll in terms of traditional bottom lane roles, but they actually switched things up in the mid-jungle.
Have you seen Zoe bottom lane yet?
Zoe bottom lane?
Yes.
Like, competitively, no. Luch did just completely shit on me in a solo queue game, though. So
okay. Because I was going to say, you can see mid lane bans for the Zoe being thrown out there. You've got things like the LeBlanc. However, I would be interested whether Raze does play it because we saw Ryoma in the Cassiopeia versus Swain matchup, especially with a jungler like Camille.
Yep.
You run over the game in that situation. Trundle going to be banned away.
And we've seen crazy drafts all day. Order pulling out 2 very weird funnel compositions out of almost nowhere. And we might actually just be seeing the first Smite mid laner in the OPL.
So
Talon?
talk us through that, what you mean.
Talon, it emerged as being that. You need to be able to clear the Raptors and you take Smite. So you can just kill the camp immediately, you go to the lane before the minions meet, before any of them die, so you don't lose any XP, and you just start straight up level 2. And normally you put like a Bruiser or Talon into a ranged mage, traditional mid laner, and they just get bullied out early. The pre-6 levels are very hard, but when you just have a straight up level lead, especially if you have like a solid jungler early game, then you can just cause an absolute ruckus, and it really hurts to deal with.
And once again, the Kled's going to be locked in for Big Swift, so even though 3, potentially 5 bans from the Direwolves were all directed at the superstar top laner, he will just be able to take the crazy Yordle and his lizard companion as he did all Rift Rivals.
I reckon he's just laughing, right? He's not. I reckon like when he had the ability to lock that one in, when you look at the bans, it's like Renekton, Darius, and Galio. Like out of all those champions, like he wishes he could play the Kled, and then he gets the opportunity. Once again, it's going to be the Karth that's locked in for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it certainly is. Raze has played it once, picked up a pentakill. I got told I was not enthusiastic enough during that. So I will try and step it up, guys.
If he gets another one,
I'm going to pop off.
This isn't the double funnel which that Karthus game was, right? Like Raze actually has his hands on the Zoe, no. So it's not going to be the Zoe in the bot lane, but we'll just be Raze back on the Karthus.
Just because I've seen it so much. I actually haven't seen it played professionally either, but I've told this story a lot, I feel, but I'm a high elo solo queue lurker after the hours of 9 PM when my son goes to bed.
Yep.
Because I can't play the game in case he wakes up. So all I do is I kind of watch people like yourself or, you know, maybe Swift, FBI. High elo used as a loose term in this regard.
I'm Challenger again, mate.
Yeah,
I was going to be the one to bring that up. And I play it. But anyway, keep going.
And it is in a lot of high elo games at the moment. I see Zoe's locked in as like an 80 carry, like a bottom lane carry role a lot of the time. I want to see it come out.
With stuff like Heimer running around, I'm surprised that no O's teams are picking that one up. Like,
who would pick it up?
Did run rampant, like Raze, 100%. I feel like we were having lunch upstairs, and King was literally playing solo queue, and he was playing Heimerdinger, so King could pick it up. You know, both these 80 carries, I feel like, would be happy to pick up the Heimerdinger, but of course, not opting in this game. Draft's very different. Churnfire, we didn't really talk about, got his hands on the Nocturne. Very few jungle bans this game, and that's a big power pick that has shown a lot of success.
And it kind of shows the difference between these two teams, right? A lot of scaling, a lot of ability to start up the fights that they want on this lineup of Direwolves. And then Chiefs, they've got to go in.
Yep.
Like, you call Order the Mallet. Well, these guys are the Sledgehammer. They play even more brute force League of Legends than what Order potentially does.
Once Kled yells charge,
I get very excited at that
There's
line.
no going the other way. You know, you literally have arrows on the ground to point you in the direction.
Certainly do. It's going to be the Chiefs taking on Direwolves. Grand final rematch. Biopanther, the new edition for the Direwolves as we get onto Summoner's Rift. And we're joined by the new edition of the Chiefs and their coach, Daruk. Congratulations on carrying us through Rift Rivals, by the way. Thank you very much for that.
It wasn't me. It was the players, but thank you.
I don't believe that for a second. So talk to us about what that experience gave to the players. Obviously, Chiefs hadn't been internationally for, I think, a year and a half. So big moment for some of the new players.
Yeah, I think it was pretty massive experience for them because I think after the loss against Tectonic, you know, it's a bit of a drag, bit of a bummer, but you know, they picked themselves up.
We did it as well.
So they really recuperated from that, and they used that to kind of spur themselves into the international scene, and it worked, and they look good, and I think they're going to motivate. It's going to motivate them for this set tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you about some stuff sort of out of the game. Destiny, Rays, both in history, have been players for the Direwolves. Grand final rematch. Do all these sort of things, like getting ahead to the players, does this game mean more than just like your average week at the OPL versus the Direwolves currently undefeated?
Yeah, so obviously you want to treat it as like, this is just another set. We take it just like another set, but obviously it's Direwolves, it's Chiefs. There is a little bit more into this set than any other set, especially from the players. They've got their own personal motivations, but obviously they're going to keep those out of the game, or they better, and they're just going to focus on playing the game properly.
And now you've been in the country for a little bit. It's obviously winter. You're out in the sticks of Western Sydney. How are you enjoying being in Australia? How are you enjoying the team? Like, is this something that you can see yourself doing for a while now? Like, how are you enjoying your time on the
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I've not had any problems with anybody in Australia. I like it. The house is a bit cold, but besides that, I mean, an Australian winter is really not too bad compared to a Colorado winter. So I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I could see myself staying.
Well, thank you very much for coming over.
Thank you.
Best of luck in this game. Of course, that's Daruk, head coach of the Chiefs Esports Club. And might I say, I think that he is a pretty smart fellow. As we actually see Big Swift go for a bit of an all-in.
It's a nice little early trade. Of course, has the level lead, so able to force himself onto BioPanther.
But a lot of the things he says, Daruk, let's just, like, as we, like, Jungler's going to farm for a bit.
Yeah.
A lot of the things he says, like, he doesn't have that many moments to me where I'm like, ooh, like, I don't know whether I necessarily agree with that. Seems to be a pretty well thought out guy, and I think he's doing good things with what is still a very young roster on the side of the Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've all talked about behind the scenes in the chase, saying that they're happy with what's going on right now. Of course, have been fairly successful in the OPL this split, want to get to the grand final once again, maybe win it this time, and try and get back to the old Chiefs form that the organization has seen, and he's definitely helping them get there.
Do you feel that pressure as a Chief? When you came in, obviously on the back end of Rosie Radier being one of the legendary bottom lanes of the scene, like, do you think there is that additional pressure as a Chiefs member that you are expected to perform instantly?
No. This is going to sound really, like, braggy, right? But I don't mean it in the sense of the word at all. My first games, like, I played on MF, and then Legacy, we won Winter, and then, like, I won, right? And then almost immediately after, I lost a single split, and then I joined Chiefs, and we won a lot. Obviously, more recently, I've lost a ton of splits. Blowing the Direwolves have, like, sort of reigned supreme fairly recently, so, like, I don't know. I was always in the position of being on a very strong team, and so it was just, like, business as usual. Of course, we want to get to the grand final. Of course, we want to win. It's like, I don't know whether I'm biased, and I feel like that's honestly my genuine answer to the question.
But as you guys were... Okay, so let me flip the question, because nothing is happening in this game. I mean, Swiper's doing a good job laning. Sher might come up top lane, but as you started losing, did that inherent pressure stack up, or did it still feel like you were just doing it for you guys, like, very little implied pressure from the club, from the fan base? Because the Chiefs have just been around at the top for such a long time.
I felt very little pressure from the organization. Like, I'm very, like, self-motivated when I was a player. Like, I wanted to win for me. Because you've had those interview questions as a player, and you're like, man, like, I want to do it for the fans and stuff. Be like, yes, that is true. And, like, you love having support from the fans, and it means so much, but you just want to win because you want to win. That's why you play the game, right? You want to compete. You don't want to beat your opponents. You want to shit on your opponents. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, right? Like, a lot of the motivation from professional players comes from within, and that's how I felt.
Yeah, absolutely was. I like having these chats, as we will get back into the game now. Quinny K, our good friend, is up 20 CS over the opposing mage in the bottom lane and putting on a clinic of Karthus Skittles, Bryce.
Oh, absolutely not missing. Barely any. This is such an annoying lane. Skittles coming out every few seconds. Destiny has the area, so constantly proccing the pool. And there's not a whole lot of sustain in this matchup for the Direwolves. Every time that area hits, sure, if Cupcake lands a Q, but if it goes wide like that, then he's just gonna have to be chugging pot central for the Direwolves bottom lane.
It is most likely going to be a Q-Max Rakan, plus the fact that if Swain ever gets in range to land something for the Souls, he should get some health back from it, because I believe that's the way the passive works.
But that's the thing about this matchup. Like, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is TP on Raze. He's going to base, TP back if he needs to. Destiny went for that early recall. They just go for the AP. Like, we saw Rosie earlier in the day go for the Ruby Crystal.
Yep.
Destiny's just like, no, I want AP. We want to play that poke style, keep you under turret. They don't want to fight. They don't want to all-in a Rakan. But they just want to keep them under turret with that constant pressure.
And I like it. They go back. They grab themselves, you know, upgraded Harass going to come out. What a health. Like, honestly, Raze at this stage, ignore that guy. He's not going to die. He's got himself a Catalyst of the Protector. Triple pulls mid lane wave. That's very cute. We don't often see that anymore in the mid lane, but going to force Ryoma to stick around.
Wants to be close to his turret. Gang potential is
Actually,
here.
lots
Binding.
of people here. Very nice binding, as you pointed out. However, we'll just get the pull out, and now we will have to collect the wave at the turret.
And I really like the timing out of Cheese, because Babib doesn't have anything to farm on the top side of the map. He was tracking towards the mid lane, was on vision, so Triple knew where he was, but that's as soon as Destiny gets there, the binding throws out, does get pulled, so they don't waste a lot of time. They look for the opportunity, doesn't land, immediately back away.
And I know that you credit what just happened there a lot to Raze. The fact that he pushed the wave hard, ducked into the river and picked himself up some Melons. Maybe the first player from the lane position that used to grab Melons frequently.
Yep, first player that I ever saw. Take a trade, you know, immediately shove in, burn all your mana, and be like, hey man, let's go get some fruit. Come back to lane. It's really obnoxious.
Is he a cerebral player, or
Yes.
is he a press buttons 80
I
carry?
mean, he's very good at pressing buttons, but he's definitely a smart player. His Rise ulti earlier in the split against the Bombers, where he used Realm Warp to get vision of the Sejuani and bait them to throwing their ultimates. That's incredible. I'm very impressed. He's got the smarts. 100%.
If that is what he did.
That is what he did. I asked him.
He baited for vision.
Yes, and he also
You cannot
baited them
force
in.
people to throw ultimates at nothing.
It's a forced error.
No, it's because there are. You know that when you Rise ulti people, it shows you how many people are going to come out of the Rise
Yeah,
ulti,
you have
right?
little portals.
So when it's 0, you don't throw an ulti at it. That's the general rule.
But it's a
More
slow
than one,
ulti.
throw
It's
an ulti.
It's a Sejuani.
Less than one, throw
He's-
no ulti.
They threw an ulti and a Talia flick.
Yep, certainly did.
Yep. But that wasn't in this game. Destiny
Flash
looking
forward
for
going to be
something
here,
with
and that's going to
Kled.
be a Kled charge as well coming into that bottom lane.
They commit.
And they go forward. That is so much movement speed. However, Countergank is here from Shen, and he has read it so well. Big damage coming out of this
Big
Nocturne.
knock-up.
Knock up onto all 3 members. Swiper has been dismounted, and that is going to be a Karthus ultimate trying to turn this one back around. However, King, very tanky as well. It will just be the 1-for-1 trade.
And that's it. The 1-for-1 mid lane is actually fighting as well. Triple blows
Over the wall
flash.
they go. That's going to be Flash. That's going to be
Oh.
Knight. And that is going to be Tommy. Absolutely styling on Triple.
And everyone from the Chiefs just rotates down the map. Swiper doesn't use TP, gets the lane gank, and they pull the trigger on a play. Ryoma follows Triple down the river. You talked about maybe making a case for the best player in the OPL right now. Dies solo to Ryoma.
And this is a big matchup. Whilst not on necessarily these lineups, when Sin used to play Avant Gaming in every 4th versus 5th gauntlet match I've ever seen, we'll talk about it later.
Binding does go wide. Very nice flash comes out of the direwolves, but you are just hard committed at this point. It's very nice for Shern to use the ulti here and wait a little bit. Baits them to go back in. Flash comes out of the Karthus. Big knock-up from Cupcake. Holds on to his summoner for just so long. He does eventually die to a bit of the damage, and we're going to see this 1 versus 1. Karthus means a lot here. Triple takes a huge chunk, and you can't flash away from a Zoe. He picks up that one, goes over the wall, and eventually he just dies.
And what I was going to say is when these guys were on Sin Gaming and Avant Gaming, respectively, Ryoma versus Triple was like the ultimate mid lane grudge match. They used to trade blows. So Ryoma picking up the first kill in this mid lane would mean so much because he is a big confidence player.
Absolutely. Likewise with the rest of the Chiefs roster, I think. Top side, 10 CS advantage for Biopanther. Of course, Swiper has used his TP. Went back to the bottom lane, and that's a huge chunk of damage that Biopanther got onto the turret in the time that he couldn't answer in the bottom lane, so has done well to get something. Redemption, super annoying for the mid laner.
Because the thing is that Mundo actually destroys turrets
His AD is deceptively high.
because of his E.
Yep.
Is it sadism or masochism?
Sadism. Masochism's the ulti.
Is it?
Yeah.
Alright.
I think I learned that. I'm not 100% confident though, but I'm like 95.
Because I remember someone was like, the icons looked like they were supposed to be the other way around. Like it looked
Yeah.
like it was an error.
Yeah.
And Riot never just swapped them because it was like an error for like 2
It
years.
turned into a quote-unquote feature.
Yeah.
Love it.
As King just going to continue to try and farm out this bottom lane. Is 20 CS behind. Ray's getting that kill as well. Certainly doesn't help King's cause. It's now
Okay.
Shern
just out of ulti range for the Camille.
Yeah, potentially could go for it. Actually gets a spell shield. Now we'll get the ultimate. Shern has to turn and try and fight. However, so many members of the Chiefs, they just collapse as a unit. And he actually flashes. Now all of a sudden Cupcake potentially caught out. Has to start putting on the blue suede shoes. But he's just dancing back and forward. Will eventually dash out to safety.
And Shernfire, greedy use of the flash there, doesn't blow it early. As soon as Camille ulti dropped, he could have gone over the wall, but steps back into the bubble. Chiefs did so well to deny multiple entrances there. You have bot lane collapsing.
Biopanther is in big trouble here, although gets some good damage down. And now Big Swips is a very slow Yordle. Tries to shoot himself away. Dances away from that one. I think if Biopanther fights, he would have been all right, but Swiper deters him.
And it's one of those things you don't play often against a Kled, right? Unless he's at the height of the meta, which often is his niche at best. Swiper knows the limits there. Biopanther not willing to opt in for the all-in, because if he remounts, it's super rough for the Mundo.
Certainly can be the case, and you can see right now, sneaky Chiefs. They've always been sneaky. Tully told me a long time ago. As now Babip looking in the top lane, will go for the play. However, Shern will delete Swiper. Meanwhile, however, Sleepy Trouble Bubble was picked up. That's a nice use of the stopwatch, but Biopanther still goes down. Ryoma still wants more, putting out so much damage. That Sleepy Trouble, that Paddle Style nearly took him out. Still a double kill for Ryoma.
And it's so rough to fight on the opposite side of the map. Raze just channels the ulti, spell shield, and stopwatch has to be used on a member just sitting in the bottom lane. Chiefs looking for more down here.
Certainly are. You can see how much damage is coming out. King has ultimate, however, he has no mana. Will rip them back. Will go now into that bird form. Destiny uses his ultimate as well. They break the chains. No flash available, however, and Destiny's just going to walk this one out. One auto attack. Where is the second auto attack? The pop is there, and Kings picks up the kill.
And he thought he was out of range. He has the stopwatch. Did not think he would die to this lane, and Dire will turn that one around. That was Chiefs going aggressive, looking for the play, but very nice turnaround. Cupcake burns the ulti, CC lands from King, and they pick up a Morgana.
And the big thing, Bryce, I don't know whether many people at home would know this. Obviously, you read all of the interactions and features of the champions, but Swain's ultimate no longer costs mana. He can sit in it on 0 mana for the full duration. Obviously, used to cost mana, because that was the only way you could get him out of the damn thing. Otherwise, he was just a big bird for a long time. But new Swain, kind of cool feature.
Hits him with a pop, doesn't even matter. Chiefs, maybe looking for triple.
Don't know whether he didn't see the binding or whether he was just very confident in the juke because he just walked that one out.
It's interesting to look at players and to see if they do juke bushes they don't have vision in.
Yeah.
Because I was always that kind of guy, but a lot of people aren't, you know? Like if you don't know someone's there, you kind of just juking for no reason, but do you take that extra step there? Binding doesn't land, so Big Swips doesn't want to cast the ultimate onto a Vladimir that still has pull, still has flash.
I actually had a conversation with Spooks about this the other day as we were playing a 1v1 Smite Lee Sin mid lane off.
Okay.
And he said that if you are really confident, like when you're on, you don't juke. You walk and you dodge. He's he knows when he is like really in the zone, as we'll stop talking about that, gang top lane, not going to happen. He said, you know you're really on when you just dodge skill shots. You walk in a line and you are just that confident that it will not hit you.
I kind of back that. That's an interesting take. I like that one.
And that's how I know I've never been good enough to be a pro player, because I jitter my character back and forward like you would not believe. Meanwhile, Biopanther is actually zoned away. Swiper, obviously, with the Nocturne in his back pocket, that helps.
But Rift Herald being popped in the mid lane also helps. Going to draw Shernfire's attention away. Has been involved in a couple of the early ganks. Has 2 kills, so...
Doesn't look like they're going to fight this one. It actually looks like they are dropping first turret mid lane.
And they actually they were just all out of range there. So Raze picks up 600. All of the gold goes into his pocket. We haven't talked about gold lead is 1.7, 1.5 in favor of the Chiefs, but Ryoma, 1.3 in his back pocket. He's got 4 kills. He's popping off.
Certainly is. Shern, big lead over Babip with those 2 kills, and Biopanther starting to try and put something together, given the fact that he is 30 CS up, but down the 3 assists.
Because this is the Swiper style, right? Like, he has this winning matchup, and that allows him the freedom to go elsewhere. He's down in CS, he's down 30 CS in a winning matchup that he was bullying early. His top turret is incredibly low.
They go in onto Raze, and that is 3 ultimates used, but they just do not care. They will finally take down Raze.
Ulti will channel onto multiple people. No spell shielded available for Shernfire.
3 members are coming up here. They do just dodge out. No jukes allowed, and the Direwolves walk away.
And this is a big button composition. When Shernfire has ulti, he's going to go in. When Cupcake has ulti, he's going to go in. On the same time, Chiefs want to play around Swiper, his ability to get out of the lane and start up a fight. When Karthus has his ulti, they want to skirmish on other sides of the map. So It's just about picking these timings and making it successful. Direwolves narrowly pick it there. Chiefs were collapsing. They were looking for the fight on the back end of that play, but they get in, they get out, and they get themselves a kill.
And I found historically when Swiper just did what he did, when he teleports back to lane to save turrets, that means the Chiefs feel like they're under a little bit of pressure. I'm not going to say they feel like they're under a ton of pressure, but he's obviously being forced out. At this stage of the game, you would much rather have a Kled teleporting into your back line if you're the Chiefs than a Mundo, because Kled has such a high impact ulti, and BioPanther is happy to sit down here and just continue to scale up.
Swiper hasn't completed the cleaver yet, whereas that's Tabby's, that's Sunfire Cape for the Mundo, so it's going to take a lot to chew through him. He's so far pushed on the enemy side of the map. Unfortunately for Chiefs, it's only an Air Drake that will be started up, so
They have real bad Dragon RNG.
Who has the best Dragon RNG?
Order's up there, actually.
Yeah, they get a lot of
We get
Infernals.
a lot of Infernals. And we normally play only early game comps, because I say it's a reward for playing early game comps.
You're a Derek Trang, good players crit.
Yeah,
Like,
I
no,
have.
no.
Raider and I. Derek Trang, of course, Raider, legendary 80 carry of the Chiefs Esports Club.
Can't believe he said good players crit more.
No,
What an obnoxious
He
guy.
used to say he could choose when to crit. It's actually, it's going to be Babip going in onto the Swain. That's not the target you necessarily want. Good knock-up out of Cupcake will deter them and just back away.
Rotations coming from the bottom side of the map. Schernfire face checks Secled, and he's actually just looking for the 1v1.
Yeah, certainly is, and he's got a Nocturne ultimate. No, he doesn't, actually. I was going to use a Karthus ultimate Nocturne, but he doesn't even have that one available. Long cooldown.
Did not use the spell shield on screen, so I don't know if he didn't have it or just held it for so long. Didn't choose to use it on the rip back from Kled, but Chiefs hard committing to this play. You see on the way ping from BioPanther onto the turret.
And into the back line goes Triple, gets a 4-man ultimate, but Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, so he gets blown up. Meanwhile, Shern goes in. Immediate stopwatch means he has to fly back out, and this is a rout. Shern goes down. Cupcake already golden, and Swiper is underneath the turret. The Direwolves right now are absolutely getting destroyed, but BioPanther finally arrives, and it is the Mundo cleanup crew. Meanwhile, Dismount is there. Swiper with the Triumph proc should be able to live, but the briefcase takes him out, and BioPanther gets the quad drop.
And you see it every week. BioPanther has the magic. That was a play from Direwolves. Triple goes in early, but Big Bio in the top lane comes in with the cleanup crew. That was looking disastrous at first. Triple goes in, he dies. Schernfire suffers the same fate. And now that's a big Mundo that was already winning versus the Kled.
Certainly was, as we get the speed up and now the slow down into this replay.
Yep, we see all of the members have died already. It was very nice juggle of the turret aggro here. Stopwatch coming out from Destiny. Swiper tanking it up in the back end of that fight, but they're just so low, have already used the flashes. BioPanther hits him with the headbutt for the last kill, and very easy cleanup onto Swiper.
Certainly was. Swiper, no jukes there. He's so slow when he's off it. Quadra kill. One of them was a 750 gold shutdown as well. That is a 5-kill shutdown. He just took a turret for himself as well.
He hasn't based. How
How much gold has he
have?
got? Observer, before he spends it, please tell me.
Can they do it? He's 4-1. Can we look at the gold? He bought a Spirit Visage
And the Megatron!
Oh, no. He
Solved
wants some AD.
Yeah.
He wants some armor, you know? Not the magic resist. A wise decision, I think. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That is... I can't stop laughing. That is so much money that he just spent.
Absolutely.
That's
and
incredible.
Such crucial items.
Yes.
That's probably the worst member to give it to as well, because
Yes.
Karthus is now just going to have BioPanther running at him and disregarding so much. Obviously, Mundo's W gives him a lot of magic resist, but also gives him tenacity.
Yep.
So he just shrugs off the CC.
The slow,
Just keeps running at you.
He's so annoying. And Swiper went back to base after that fight. Still sitting on the brown bags. Gets himself an Executioner's Calling. And BioPanther gets a Spirit Visage and the armor of a Chain Vest as well. Look how tanky he is. We saw him 30 seconds ago on the screen, had like under 2k health. Now has more than 2.5. He's got 2.9 on your screen there, approaching 3. That is a big boy approaching the 20-minute mark.
And you know you don't want to fight someone when you recall for a Ruby Crystal, because that Ruby Crystal is
Yeah.
not a base we see often.
That's not going to change the fight.
I would say
Ruby
we
Crystal.
see recall Pink Ward more often than we see recall Ruby Crystal. And Swiper opted for that. Top lane turret falls down. Shern still down in this bottom lane, just putting a luxury hotel.
The Chiefs are literally just starting the Baron right now. 9,000 straight at 20 minutes. Direwolves don't have vision. Blue Trinket
now
does
will
come
be
out.
there. BioPanther going to try and zone Swiper away. Shern only level 12, so not going to be there. Babip is so low. Can they actually get in there and start this fight up? Over they go, and into the pit goes Cupcake.
Oh.
Do they get it? No, they get Babip. Smites away Baron, will fall down. That's 2 members already, and Swiper is just not getting anything done. Will finally get the remount. Raze picks himself up another kill, and actually this team fight actually might go the way of the Chiefs right now. Swiper is putting up one hell of a brawl, and that is going to be a 4 for 3, but Baron achieves.
And you saw what they wanted to do. They knew Direwolves were going to pick on Swiper. Biopanther just got so much gold. He's so incredibly strong. They go to the Baron straight on spawn as soon as that one comes up. And you saw they know they're going to lose the fight. As soon as Schönfire comes, they all back away. Ryoma tries to just recall with the buff, be the one surviving member. And with the Karthus ulti coming through, just picks himself up a cheeky little kill and then just goes back to base.
And sorry, this was a 4 for 2 because Biopanther doesn't TP.
He doesn't. Does he have TP? I feel like it might be a spectator bug because it was a few seconds of coming off cooldown. So he just walks the entire way. They do have a pink ward there, so I expect him to use it if he does have it available. There's Ryoma just picking up a cheeky little kill. And in the pit, it's very hard to fight the Vladimir, to fight the Nocturne, to fight the Rakan, things like that. So when Chiefs are locked in, you saw Babip was on almost 200 HP before the Baron died. So there was no way Chiefs were ever going to win that one. And the fact that they get a living member with the Baron buff, not to mention they take the Baron off the map for the Direwolves, is a big win for them.
Certainly is. That second trouble bubble going to land after the binding, however. No damage going to register. And Bryce, we talk about this a lot behind the scenes, but when Direwolves get a Baron, it seems like they take everything. Like they get free access to anything they want on the map. However, when they give up Baron, they generally don't lose all that much.
Yep. Very good at allocating resources. They decide very early that they're going to drop turrets. You can see them doing that right now. They're ever so slowly, tentatively walking to the inhib turret in the bottom lane. They don't waste any time going to the inner because they know it's going down, and you see Schönfire farming golems whilst that happens. It's an inevitability that this turret will die, and they just play it slow. Schönfire farms a camp, and they're going to be able to fight at the inhib if they want to.
Yeah, and they've still got teleport, although very good wards out from the Chiefs going to stop that. They actually teleport to the turret. Do they commit and try and take it out first? Yes, they do. And now the Chiefs just start the fight in very Chiefs fashion. King has to burn the Zonya's Hourglass very early. Does he have the flash available? No, he does not, so he will fall down. However, onto the back line they go. Huge emo play. Very nice engage, and pop goes the Chiefs. Biopanther is here, flashes forward, and will take out Raze. Now Destiny is next on his lift, and Mundo will go where he pleases.
Oh, no.
Destiny flashes into the base case, stands still, and does he continue the chase onto Swiper? No, he does not. So once again, a 4 for 2.
And the team fight did look rough. Biopanther didn't make the TP in time, so he has to channel 8-second recall time at 10, 15 seconds before he even gets to the fight, but Triple does so much damage. The AoE engage from Cupcake makes Vladimir just so potent, and they just wipe the floor with the Chiefs.
And once again, this comp is getting tanky. Shern is the only squishy member, as well as Cupcake, but then you got Zonya's Hourglass on Triple, Zonya's Hourglass on King, and Biopanther doesn't care about the laser beams from the sky. So Raze is running out of options.
Yep. He could take the fountain if he wanted to at this point. You know, he's a very big boy. We're going to see this once again. Very unfortunate TP there. Binding does land onto King, so he falls very low very quickly. Buys some time, but this is the engage from Cupcake. Goes in onto King, onto Schönfire, and gets multiple people in that Vladimir ulti. The entire time buying time for Biopanther to arrive, and he just 1v3s at this point. Lands the cleaver, Binding goes wide. Unfortunately, Destiny, bit of an unlucky flash here.
He wasn't living anyway, that was a bad flash.
Probably going to die anyway, so just does it quicker, you know? Yeah, might cost him a 5-minute cooldown, but that's all right.
Bummer.
Yep.
As Biopanther goes back, picks up the components for a Warmogs. So he's going to probably have about 9,000 health when he pops that stone plate.
That's a lot of health, Jake.
Well, what does stone plate do?
It just doubles your health. He's at 24 minutes.
Yeah. So if we look at Biopanther just quickly, if we look at his character model, he is currently sitting on 3,700 with Warmogs.
Yeah. Over 4K. It's easily 8,000.
We'll call it a cheeky 8K.
Yeah, just a nice little 8,000. Not to mention he just gets all of it back when he presses the ulti. Not to mention he gets all of it back when Cupcake hits him with a redemption. He's got so much sustain, and I feel like we talk about this a lot. Mundo, one of those tanks that's so oppressive when he gets ahead, and let me tell you, Biopanther's pretty far ahead.
And he said, might not be the best top laner in the OPL. And I quote, he's trying to make a case for it right now. As Chiefs once again just continuing
Direwolves are looking.
However, Direwolves on the flank. Great engage coming in, and Raze might just be blown up on the back end of this. Will go forward, trying to just die in a good area. And you can see now that ultimate has been popped out of Swiper. The charge coming in, but BioPanther is here first. And Destiny just cannot get away. Will eventually get chased down, and BioPanther now will just continue his assault on the Chiefs' backline. He's catching skill shots, Bryce. He's saying, come here, boys. Let's just continue to tango. The remount comes out of Swiper, but BioPanther that whole time did not take damage.
And as casters, we say unkillable a lot, but BioPanther is literally unkillable. He didn't even pop the gargoyle there. As soon as he gets to the fight, Chiefs have absolutely no damage. They have Morello's on the Zoe, Morello's on the Karthus, but if they fall down early, there's not that consistent damage. It has to be Raze that has any hope of dealing with BioPanther, and at this point in the game, it's just so tough.
Certainly is, but the Chiefs still take turrets afterwards. Let's take another look.
And honestly, it looked kind of good for the Chiefs at the start. Lots of cooldowns, Nocturne ult, Vladimir ult, Rakan ult go, and they get a single pick. Destiny buys enough time, but at this point, as the top laners group, BioPanther just causes an absolute ruckus, picks off Destiny, gets a nice little shutdown with a kill, but there's no getting away from the constant CC. Cupcake floating around the back of the fight. Cleaver's constantly landing, and Zai will just clean up.
And I can't believe he legitimately just walked in front of the strongest member of the Chiefs in Ryoma and said, yeah, I'll take your paddle star.
Yep, that's mine. He's not playing ping pong. He's the guy that is on the other end of the table. And yeah, he just caught it. And he's like, yeah, match point for me, 100%.
But still, the Chiefs are taking the objectives off the back end of the fight. There's still 500 gold in the lead, but you just feel like this is one disastrous fight away from BioPanther just running down mid lane and taking the base.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about this Baron spawning in 2 seconds. Chiefs have the vision down, but Direwolves have all the control. Swiper's actually split pushing in the bottom lane, and he's going to have to do a whole lot. He's trying to set up the wave, but 11,000 health on the Baron.
They're not going to take health for, damage from Baron. If Raze gets in the pit, he will cause a ruckus, as you like to say. However, BioPanther not taking damage yet.
Chiefs want them to back away. This is the best situation. They do see triple, but being a human ward here. Swips is on the Nexus.
Certainly is. They might have to burn a teleport here, because Swiper does it very quickly, and they use
Karthus
the Karthus ultimate to stop all the bases. So they
TP.
They get the TPs out. Now the Chiefs can just do Baron.
And this is a split pusher that has absolutely no control in the 1v1. All of a sudden, Chiefs macro play gets Swiper the TP advantage, so they can start up the Baron. This can be a 4 versus 5. BioPanther can't cancel the TP.
However, the Chiefs have taken so much damage. Babip is not tanky enough to tank the Baron at the moment, so they actually can realistically not do this.
Comparing Babip's 2k health bar to BioPanther's 74k, I feel like one of them tanks Baron a little bit better than the other, and we're seeing that one here. Inhib does go down, so Swiper gets a Nexus turret, gets the Inhib, puts that one on rotation once again, and Chiefs
starting up one more time. You can see that there is vision of this on the top green ward, so they will back away.
There's a badly placed pink ward that doesn't actually spot out the entirety of the pit, so ward not denied by the Direwolves. Chiefs think there's no vision, but unfortunately there is.
See Ryoma continuing to clear out these waves, has himself the Void Staff. Good step in the right direction of taking some of the health away from the Mundo.
Because I feel like if this Baron doesn't end the game, then you start talking about that point where everyone's hitting max build, when BioPanther isn't getting any stronger, and all of a sudden the sustained damage that can come out of a Karthus, if he can live, is enough to beat down on the Mundo, but I feel like we're a big Baron play away from that yet, so Chiefs just need to hold on in this position for about another 5 to 10 minutes.
And I wonder when Raze starts going for like the Rylai's Leandry kind of thing, like when he actually goes for a little bit more tankiness, a little bit more control, not for the percentage health shred, but for, you know, the ramp up damage that's going to come out as he continually stays in the fight.
I reckon the percentage health shred is also pretty good against the Mundo. Yeah. If there was ever a time, it's definitely this one.
Probably this game. Imagine if he was Cho'Gath with this much health. He would just one-hit someone.
He absolutely would. Hit him with the flash chomp. That sucks to play around. As Direwolves actually expend multiple people down here.
They don't have teleport on either of them.
If Chiefs knew, they don't have vision right now. They have the inkling that Direwolves are doing the dragon, but they don't know who. So if they knew multiple members were down there, potentially they have Swiper's TP, so they could have looked to start off a Baron and force a team fight. Would have probably just been a 50-50 smite because Schönfire can get in there with a Paranoia.
That's going to be his spell shield down for Schön. The bold
TP
call,
from
however,
Swips.
that is big TP coming in, and now they have to try and disengage. They have to run down. Swiper has access to this play. However, they've run towards their top laner. Very nicely played by the Direwolf.
Yeah, Babip was the one in range. He would have been starting it off and would have immediately died on the Camille. He's not tanky at all. Schönfire, very late on these spell shields. Clutch timing here.
Is it very late, or is it
Well,
right on time?
No, that's the thing, like perfectly late. Bubble.
As they put some more damage into him.
Swiper did burn the TP there, so all of a sudden does have a flank position top side of the map, but can't join a fight on the other side, so now there's no way for him to pressure around that open inhib. We'll just shove in this way.
And Swiper, if he gets on a squishy, if he gets onto Cupcake, if he gets onto Schön, he's going to tear him apart. I mean, he's still, you know, that 2.5, 3 item Kled. The problem is that King probably going to ignore him at this stage. He's got enough damage mitigation, plus the big pro form.
Yep.
And Triple just goes underneath it.
The problem is that Direwolves need, well, for Chiefs to win a team fight, Direwolves carries need to die. So you need Zoe to be hitting a Swain or a Vladimir. You need Raze to be on the back line to be able to kill them. And then, as you talk about it, Swain having the ulti, Vladimir has pool, they both have Zonyas. They can live for so long. Like, if Biopanther is one man armying the Chiefs, he's not going to kill anyone. He doesn't do a whole lot of damage. He can just buy enough time and be a nuisance. So if Chiefs find a pick onto a carry, there's definitely potentially... I said it again. Definitely potential. There's definitely potential for them to take over a fight, but it's very rough.
Swiper will take himself a blue buff right now. Doesn't really help him out at all, but denies gold and farm away from King, so why not?
It's gone from a Golem Fiend to a Gromp Fiend.
Just depends what side of the map you're on, mate.
To farm that one up, Destiny.
Takes a lot of damage and actually turns around and just says, bugger off.
Hey, Destiny, that was Biopanther's fault, not the Baron. Leave him alone. It's him with a fuck. Like, what was he doing?
It was just like, stop hitting me. I'll hit you back.
I've never seen that in my life.
That was the warning shot.
Yeah, okay. Next time he's going to hit him with the ulti. Yeah, that'll do a lot.
That'll learn you.
Yeah. Baron's got way too much HP. There's no way.
But the longer this game goes, the more it feels like it's actually in Direwolf's territory. Tankier this Swain is getting, tankier Triple is getting, and if he picks himself up a death cap, will just be able to one-shot the entire backline of the Chiefs whenever they clump, and they need to clump to fight.
And it's interesting because from the builds, you know that Direwolves have known that fact from the get-go. Schönfire on the Nocturne had 2 kills early, 2 deaths as well, but he had the gold to go for a Dustblade, and he just goes straight GA rush. He goes for the defensive option. He's not looking to one-shot and snowball. He's happy to just farm it up. Biopanther getting 74 kills is a huge bonus here. He's very big, very tanky.
He went for Adaptive Helm, not for... Oh no, that's just as well as Warmogs. Sorry, guys. He's got both.
Yep. He's very big. very, very big. He's not getting any bigger. Level 18, max build. Maybe he swaps some things out. Maybe drops the Sunfire for like... Oh, no, does he?
I think so.
For what?
I mean, what do you want?
Abyssal Mask? Like MR?
Yeah, true. Actually, maybe
like,
you don't.
Because you're not going to go AD. Like, I was thinking at this point, maybe
you
swap
Titanic
something
Hydra.
out. Yes, okay. Because at this point, you're not going to go towards like a Randuin's because like an 80 carry's coming online and you want the crit defense, but it's literally a Karthus in the bottom lane and a Kled, so you don't care about armor.
I think Randuin's is still better than Sunfire just because of the slow.
Yeah.
So if you get in the back line, you can slow people down. Maybe you make it easy if you're Vlad, you make it easy if you're Swain. But if I'm him, I say, guys, this one's on me.
Atmas.
And I go get myself a Titanic.
Atmas and Payload. That's what he needs.
That would have been what he needed.
That is what this guy needs, 100%. That, I'm glad that item got removed.
Everyone is.
Yes, for people that don't know, for new players of League of Legends, it used to scale off your health
and give you AD.
And give you damage for it. So it was like super tanky Mundo would just have a whole bunch of damage.
Also used to give you crit randomly and give you armor. So it was a crit armor item that scaled AD off your health. Made no sense, but Gangplank used to build that in Warmogs, then Infinity Edge, and just be a nuisance on Summoner's Rift.
Absolutely gross. Because what is that? What's the meme? The like Atmogs build is like Warmogs Atmas in one hand. He had a Triforce. He had Merc Treads and Tabbies on his other foot. Did he have a helmet?
I don't know.
Or is that too many items?
I think that's
feel like that's too many items. Doesn't have enough slots.
Yeah. Champions like Nocturne used to go Frozen Mallet Atmas. Because it was even like more gross. Perpetual slows, crit, and attack damage. What a... Yeah. All right, let's talk about this game.
Yep. We've,
Gold, dead even,
yeah.
35 minutes in.
We've done a whole lot of nothing between the last two dragon spawns, so that's about 6 minutes between it. We've just been trading sides of the map. Inhib in the bottom lane has spawned a Direwolves, and Swiper has absolutely no way to get that back. Bubble does land onto King and damage onto Triple.
Certainly does. They try and
They're
throw it
going.
away, and they are going to go for this flash in. King takes so much damage. Over the wall they go, but an Ice on use Hourglass. Biopanther into the backline, but Destiny with a great ultimate churn, trying to take care of Ryoma, and he just did it. Takes out Ryoma, and that is a team fight right now for the Direwolves. The lasers from the sky will come out, but I think they're just going to mean diddly squat. Babip trying to flash away, trying to get himself to safety. Over the wall goes Big Swips. Biopanther trying to chase him. Actually, they grab the creep wave as well. This might not be the end of the game.
Can he remount? He can. Goes forwards. Elder Dragon has spawned, but neither team really has much of a claim over that. Baron will be the prized objective. Both junglers are up and available. Level 16 for Babip to 17 of Schernfire. And you can see Direwolves want the Baron, but they don't want to trade it for the Elder. So Chiefs, despite 2v3, they pull the trigger on the play.
Well, that is how you get them away from the Elder Dragon, because you walk towards Baron, they go towards Elder, and now you have complete control over the area. You also have teleport on King. So this should be the Direwolves.
Babip is a level down, has the capacity to steal. It should be all but secure. They can play it slow. You mentioned TP available for King, but Raze has his own. He uses the bottom lane.
Babip,
does he get it?
Actually look for it? No, he doesn't even go for it. And now with the Elder Dragon, they can just march towards Baron.
And this is it. We saw the changes so long ago. Junglers don't have wards anymore. He had no way to get vision over the wall, and would have just been like a 60-40 at best, even with the smite, but not even seeing the HP, it's even worse, so doesn't go for the play. Direwolves have the Elder and all members up and alive.
And they are just so frustratingly patient. King top lane catching a big wave. They don't even contest mid lane vision. They just say, all right, we'll catch the next wave, we'll go one more, then we'll go towards Baron.
And you can see the frustration setting into the Chiefs, right? Like, they pulled the trigger on that play. We've been talking about Direwolves happy to scale up, and you saw that team fight. The burst was not available. They couldn't kill King and Triple early enough. Schernfire gets to trade a kill, and all of a sudden that's just way too much for Chiefs to deal with.
And now do you give the Baron over? That is the big question. It looks like they are going to, but this is going to be complete builds on so many members of the Direwolves right now with both major buffs.
And I don't want to call it early, but that's an Elder, that's a Baron. If you can't fight at the Baron pit against just the Elder, how are you going to fight in your base? Mundo at this point doesn't care about Tyrus. He will dive you for days, and Chiefs just opting to push out the lanes, trying to get some control of mid, trying to push out bot lane to buy some time. Elder Dragon doesn't last too long, but Direwolves are still going to have control.
Certainly are. You can see they send multiple members bottom lane. They send Biopanther mid lane. And my oh my, is the rookie having a stellar performance against the Chiefs.
And they're just going to continue to play this one slow. He's got a 4,000 gold
He's
lead.
got 5,319 health without Stoneplate.
Oh, he's a like 11,000 health gargoyle Mundo. That's gross. All Zoe can do is
Nothing.
nothing.
Literally
Make a face when she comes out of the
nothing.
end of portal jump and hope he runs away.
How do you kill this guy?
It's like Monsters Inc., except the kids are scaring, like Sully, and he's Sully, and that's the kid. You know what I mean? And he's like spooked away, running out the door.
Has to scream. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
That was
that's
a
the
great
thing.
movie.
What? Bubble?
Wall already down. Bubble does land onto the engaged thread, however, now Biopanther comes over.
He's arrived. The absolute raid boss is here. He's gone to sleep, but
I want to see how much damage it does. Ah, he dodged it.
didn't hit him. Does it hit him this time? No, it does a lot of damage to King.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to stop dodging these. Your job is to tank damage. Is King going to go back? Probably going to teleport back in on this wave.
Feel like this is going to be the wave the Direwolves might be looking for. Chiefs have done well to hold.
They certainly have. However, there is going to be 100 sack Spellbinder there for Triple, but they call it off.
Yeah, they
the
back
Chiefs
away.
hold.
They have the wall. They have a lot of good wave clear. Karthus from far away. Zoe from far away. Still has the Banshee, so it's hard to lock down. And Biopanther is incredibly strong, but their composition, they don't have that burst damage. They don't want to just pull the trigger on engage. Cupcake can go in, but they didn't pull the trigger.
Is like nearly a 6-item platinum unit. They have a fair amount of burst damage if he gets access to the back line. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. I think they're waiting for flashes on Triple on Cupcake.
trying to play multiple waves now, not 5-man stacking in the bottom lane. Biopanther goes mid, and Chiefs might just be looking to sack the bot lane and try and get something done mid. Biopanther doesn't care about anyone. Walks between multiple members.
Now they go in and they get 2 members, and that will be an instant double kill coming out for the Direwolves. Make that a triple, and all of a sudden they can turn towards the base, and the Chiefs can do nothing. Direwolves will take game 1.
An ultimate comes out from Ray. He's got to do a whole lot of damage to King, but nobody else cares. Nothing he can do under the Nexus.
Absolutely not, and it took them 41 minutes, but the Direwolves put the Chiefs to the grind and absolutely come out victorious.
And unexpectedly, or maybe not at this point, Biopanther is the one that fight in the mid lane. Chiefs looking for it. They were proactive early. It was what you expect out of the Chiefs. You know, Swiper has an advantage at the top side. Cleared into Mundo. He goes bot. They look for those proactive plays, but when they overcommit to that mid play, Mundo gets 4 kills and a bunch of shutdown gold. All of a sudden, it's just a huge problem for the Chiefs.
And to me, this is the difference between Direwolves and then Chiefs in order. Direwolves are willing to slow play. Yep. They're willing to let the game come to them. They will punish mistakes consistently. They will look for their plays. And they don't get frustrated. If you flip the situation on that game, Chiefs and Order have both looked for like 4 engages and either won the game or lost the game before it even gets to the 41-minute points. But the Direwolves, they just stick them to the grind. And no team in the OPL can go for 40 minutes at that level right now is what it looks like.
Abs, like 100%. We just saw it proven right then and there. Direwolves just play it so incredibly slow. You know, they had opportunity. Like, they could have looked for fights. They could have forced around the Baron. They could have forced around the Elder. They play it slow. You mentioned that time, King. They have the Elder Drake, and King's like, no. That's a big top wave. I want to get that one. And like they farm it out, push out the waves, slow play around the Baron, and it's just impressive.
It certainly is. You know what they're going to do, but it is just so hard to beat the Wolfpack right now. However, guys, Chiefs going to give it another crack. Don't go anywhere. After this break, we'll be back with Nick and Cyclone.
Welcome to a special edition of Around the Rift. For a special edition, we have a special guest. We have one of the greatest professional shoutcasters in the world, Zach Rusty Pie. Thank you for joining us. Let's get straight into it because we have 5 Rift Rivals regions to cover. Let's start with Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Over to you, voiceover guy.
Thanks, Benji. The group stage was close between the 3 regions, with the teams from the CIS pulling ahead of the other regions in tiebreakers on the back of their top team, Gambit Esports. The Turkish teams turned on for day 3 by knocking out the Vietnamese teams and continued their momentum going into the final. Gambit tried to once again carry the team home in the finals, however Supermassive proved that Turkey and the TCL were the stronger team at the event.
In Sao Paulo, Latin America North, Latin America South and Brazil fought it out to see which region will be the best in South America. Let's take a look at the results.
The South American group stage was neck and neck between LATAM North and Brazil, with LATAM South struggling to make ground. On the back of 3 wins by Chaos Latin Gamers, LATAM South knocked out the North for the rights to challenge the dominant Brazilians. Their development on day 3 was not enough as Brazil closed out the finals 3-1 to claim the title of the best region in South America.
Hi there guys, Rusty here.
In Los Angeles, North America and Europe fought it out to see who would come out on top in that classic rivalry.
Dabbing mascots and Academy Award level acting could not save North America from the European invasion. EU teams Fnatic and G2 smashed the group stage, took the title belts in the 2v2 mode, and dominated the final 3-1. NA will be licking their wounds for a while after this loss. Perhaps next year they should look at challenging someone more on their level.
In Dalian, China, the 3 powerhouse regions of the LMS, Korea, and the region that Rusty here is an expert on, China, took battle to see who would reign supreme in Asia. Please take us through the results, voiceover guy.
With pleasure, Benji. Returning champions, the LPL returned with the same fire that led to their victory last year. Undefeated in day 2, the LPL advanced to the final and forced the LCK to go through the LMS in the semis. The LCK turned up the heat in day 3, clean sweeping the LMS and advanced to the final. It went to game 5 with Royal Never Give Up taking on the Afrika Freaks. On the back of Uzi, RNG outmaneuvered the Korean team to retain the title for the LPL.
And finally, here in Sydney, Australia, Oceania has come out on top and taken the Rift Rivals. The first time in 5 years, Oceania has won an international event. We've failed along the way. With failure comes learning, and we've learned a lot.
Oceania blitzed the group stage with the Direwolves heading up the charge and going undefeated in the first 3 days of competition. The finals looked grim after third seed Mineski took out the reigning champions. However, Claire put the entire region on his shoulders and single-handedly brought Oceania back from the brink. Swiper took the torch and charged his way to Oceania's first international victory.
And finally, thank you, Rusty, for being such an amazing guest. We'll be back next week as we take a look at more League of Legends action from around the world.
And into the back line goes Triple, gets a 4-man ultimate, but Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, so he gets blown up. Meanwhile, Shern goes in. Immediate stopwatch means he has to fly back out, and this is a rout. Shern goes down. Cupcake already golden, and Swiper is underneath the turret. The Direwolves right now are absolutely getting destroyed, but BioPanther finally arrives, and it is the Mundo cleanup crew. Meanwhile, Dismount is there. Swiper with the Triumph proc should be able to live, but the briefcase takes him out, and BioPanther gets the quad drop. And King has to burn the Zonya's Hourglass very early. Does he have the flash available? No, he does not, so he will fall down. However, onto the back line they go. Huge emo play, very nice engage, and pop goes the Chiefs. BioPanther is here, flashes forward, and will take out Raze. Over the wall they go, but a nice Sonya's Hourglass. BioPanther into the backline, but Destiny with a great ultimate Shern, trying to take care of Ryoma, and he just did it. Takes out Ryoma, and that is the team fight right now for the Direwolves. The lasers from the sky will come out, and it took them 41 minutes, but the Direwolves put the Chiefs to the grind and absolutely come out victorious.